Hello everyone. Welcome to YakShaver sprint review summary for sprint 99. In this sprint, we have got a lot of done, and also we have made a important decision during this sprint. We will get into more details when we get there.
What's the important decision?
I don't want to spoil it for now. Yeah. So
When? No?
yeah, the review.
Okay.
Yeah. So the sprint goal for last spring was to finish the spike for move from next auth to identity server. However, this is not done. Yeah, so we will get into more details when we come to.
Just a small thing, can you just get rid of the space on identity server? That's a product name. It doesn't have a space.
Yeah. It's no underline. We'll fix it later. Yeah, so in this sprint, we have total YakShaver 98. And also the sprint duration was only 4 days because we had a delayed sprint review last week because the holiday in China. And the timesheet, we have myself working in full time, Tom, Willow, and Luis worked on part time. For the PBIs we have done, Tom has done a spike on dynamic MCP server discovery. Tom, can you talk more about this one?
Yeah, so I created a new epic and the backlog and some PBIs on how to implement that. On the internet, there's not much documentation around this yet. I did find, however, 2 NPM packages that kind of allow to dynamically register tools by just writing some TypeScript code, and the tool will then register that tool during runtime, which is very interesting and pretty cool. But they don't have any examples on how to do that with complete MCPs. So I sent the authors some email to see if that's also be usable for complete MCP packages rather than just single tools, writing your own tool. I haven't heard back from them yet. And the other option, if they are not supported, we would need to write our own MCP gateway, which basically looks up in our own catalog what MCPs we will provide, for example, for the desktop app, and then fetches them on demand and registers them. So yeah, there are PBIs created for this because we need to start making some changes on the portal and on the desktop app if we want to support that.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And next PBI, I'm going to talk about this one, red border when recording screen. This one was done by Copilot.
Was it?
Not really.
Yeah, because if it was done by Copilot, Stephen, it would have the Copilot emoji in the status.
Okay, yeah.
If you can completely vibe it up without any code, manual coding, then that's what would happen.
Yeah. So I did assign it to Copilot and it started going ahead, but then I ran out of requests and Copilot stopped. So I had to manually finish the PBI. So now when you use the desktop tool and you select the screen that you want to share, you get a red frame when you select the screen, and when you start recording, you still have the red frame, so you know which screen you are sharing while recording.
Right, okay.
Similar like what Teams does.
Yeah, thank you. For the wizard implementation design from Michaela, Willow, do you want to discuss your experience with Copilot?
Yeah, so for this one, I try to, because this one we have the Figma design file. So first I tried to use the Figma MCP service, but the design file was too large. I tried to, when I add the files into the MCP service, it run limits, hit the limits when the AI tried to read the files. So instead, I download the design image and paste them to the Copilot, and then use it to implement it. I think the overall is the layout is good, but for the details, I still need to prompt several times to get it done rightly.
So Willow, if you did it, do you see how Tom's one, if you look at the assignees column on the second row, it says Copilot and Tom, and yours does not say that. Shouldn't it say that if you tried?
I haven't directly assigned this PBI to it. I run it locally with Copilot.
So we didn't directly assign it to Copilot from GitHub. He tried on local. She, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Using the CLI.
Yeah, she is the CLI instead of the. Yeah, the next one is I implemented a fallback system prompt for the desktop app. The issue was originally we reused the project prompt on the portal. However, that prompt was used for Teams app as well. So if we change the prompt for the desktop app, it will have some interfere with the Teams performance. So we had to separate the project prompt on the portal into a Teams app prompt and also the desktop app prompt. So now we have two separate prompts for different platforms. And also if a project doesn't have any prompt added, we have a default system prompt to make sure the shape will work. And also the last one, but not the least, actually it's the most important one we had in this spring was the discussion on the authentication method migration. The original plan was to migrate the entire YakShaver into Identity Server. However, when we discussed with Hajir, he strongly suggested it would be much easier if we just migrate using BetterAuth because it's already supporting the third-party login and also it supports the email and password. But after the discussion, we feel like we have more questions need to be answered and more details need to be confirmed. I think Rick can give us some brief on this one.
Right. So because right now we only support intra ID login, and that requires super admin permission in order to integrate with the portal. So we want to make the desktop user life easier without going those granting those super permissions. So so this PBI needs to break up into multiple smaller PBIs, and we are arranging another meeting tomorrow to discuss this in detail. But I think the whole team now has is on the same page that we need to we know what the problem is, and then we need to decide what the solution we should go for. So that's the update.
Any questions?
No, good.
Okay, cool. Back into the email. So yeah, and also we have did some Canary testing. Unfortunately, Ben gave us a test failed. I will talk to Ben about more details why he thinks it's failed. And next, Baba will give us some briefing on code coverage and also the deployments.
Thank you, Steven. Code coverage is 29.9%, increased by 0.2% from last week. And if you scroll down, about the deployments, we had 11 production releases for desktop app, and we have one deployment is waiting for Teams app. It will be deployed today.
Yeah, we will plan to deploy the Teams app this morning. However, there's an issue on Microsoft, so we failed on that deployment. Next, we're going to have a look at the health overview. For the last 7 days, we can see there's some spikes on the failed error on 500 errors. That was because we had some issue on renewing tenants subscription. We already have a PBI to look into this issue in next sprint. The others looks fine, and since this issue is recovering itself over the time, YakShaver is still on a health status. So we're still going to look into this area.
So on the second one, chart, are you referring to that second one?
No, the first one, this one, the
Right.
failed requests.
Okay, what about the second one?
The second one is the same failed request.
The one to the right, purple,
Oh, this one.
the big spike.
This one are those 400 errors. That means the web scraper trying to get some information from our systems. Yeah.
Okay, so,
It returns 400.
so you can't do anything about it.
So come to the monthly usage. We have MicroQ still on the top of the leaderboard, followed by Costa. And we noticed Costa has increased in the desktop usage. He has 9 now. And also Griffin is starting using YakShaver, and he has 7 increase. However, he hasn't started using desktop app yet. So we are planning to give Griffin a canary test next week, so he can start using the desktop app. Next, we are going to talk about the product roadmap.
Yes, thank you, Steven. Can you our shower Epic, the progress remained the same.
Oh, sorry, I just moved to the because I was just trying to zoom out a little bit for you.
Okay, so for our Epic, the progress remained the same because we have done some PBIs and we also added some new PBIs, and we can scroll down to the backlog stats. So for YakShaver, we have 40 new PBIs over the last 30 days, and 73% of them are labeled with YakShaver. For the YakShaver desktop app, we also have 40 new PBIs, and 60% of them are labeled with YakShaver. This may be because we have added some placeholder PBIs just for now. And that's all about the backlog stats. Is there any questions about this?
That's good.
Okay, cool. Next, we have the R&Ds. In the last week, we have the entire team involved into a design discussion. How do we migrating or redesign our login system so that can be used for desktop app, the portal, and the backend. So they should have a centralized system that handles all the logins. And also, Tom did a research on how to dynamically connecting to MCP server when they are registered on the portal. And speaking of the AI tools, Rick has upgraded to Cloud Opus 4.6, and Willow did the same. And also, she started using Sonnet 4.6 and also Opus 4.6. And the tenant stats for last week, we had one more new tenants, and also the total number of shares from the tenants was 28. So they are 18% increase, not 18%, they are 18 increase from the previous week. This is a big jump. And also, this is the clause stats from our Tiger project. We are going to discuss this in details later, so I'm not going to spoil it for now. Next is the AI stats from Copilot. We have Stephen been talking all the time, and followed by Tom, Willow, Baba, and Rick was just listening because he was also working on client. And for the action point for the next week, that was summarized by Copilot. The main complete issue was centralized application insight login for the YakShaver desktop app was completed, including user consent handling and the detailed steps level telemetry. However, this is not true because this was still on the discussing stage. So I'll put a cross here. And speaking of the retrospective, Willow says she used AI to update the wizard, and it was good experience, although it's not very successful. And Stephen and Baba said we have had a application insight for YakShaver desktop. And what didn't go well, Stephen said, the spike for auth was more complicated than expected. Baba said there was no clear view for authentication integration yet. What problems we are going to solve with integration to identity server or better auth. Tom said debugging macOS issue for the desktop app is challenging because he doesn't have access to a Mac. And what needs to improve, Tom said, when using AI for front-end development, always instructed to check for any reusable existing components. And also, once the feature works, commit your change, then ask the AI to refactor the code into smaller and more maintainable components. Baba said we need to add logic to tenant stats for getting the active tenants based on wizard complete status. Okay, so that's all the reviewing. And next, let's jump into the planning. The goal for the next sprint is first we're going to continue from last week. We're going to finish the spike and make sure the questions and details are answered and confirmed. And then we're going to break those. We are going to break this spike into small executable PBIs. And then we're going to execute these authentication migration PBIs. And the key PBIs we're going to work on is, as we are still discussing how we're going to define our authentication spike. So there's only a placeholder for this executable PBIs now, and tomorrow we're going to have a meeting to decide what exactly we're going to do on this authentication. And also, there are customers asking about Jira and YakShaver desktop app. So I'm going to do a down video for integrating Jira and YakShaver desktop app down video. Okay, next, we're going to have a look at the Tiger stats. Tom, can I hand over to you to discuss about the Tiger stats?
Yeah. So once we finished our meeting, we basically put the recording through SSW Tiger, which is a new cool little tool that analyzes the meeting and gives us a nice looking dashboard with some insights.
You didn't have to do anything, it just emailed you.
Sorry?
You didn't have to do anything, it just emailed you. And
Ah, okay.
The meeting's done, here it is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's even better. So once the meeting is done, it emails us this nice little link to the summary. So on the first page, the overview, it's pretty much the same what we just went through. It's a summary. There's nothing crazy interesting on there, except maybe at the very bottom, which are some predictions that the AI, oh, sorry, I was on the wrong page. There are some hard truths which are pretty interesting. So it says this team is committed to 37 points against a 30 to 35 historical velocity with a 16-point auth placeholder that has no defined PBIs. The sprint is already set up to fail. It's not very optimistic, but some of the PBIs are marked as 1, but they are actually just like a 5-minute task. So we're technically under 37 points. And then our code coverage is 29.9% with a 0.2 improvement. Means reaching 80% would take 250 sprints or 5 years. That means SSW keeps us employed for the next 5 years. It's just not too bad.
That's terrible.
Well, we have a job for the next 5 years.
Should be increasing code coverage, especially with all the AI tools.
Yeah. One thing I think which is missing, the desktop app is currently not part under this coverage. So it's missing a whole bunch because we're doing more work on that than on the portal. And currently the coverage is just going off the portal. If you look through the timeline, it's just a representation of who spoke the most and how much. That pretty much looks, I think, accurate, similar to what Copilot
He's talking more than Bubba now. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And definitely more than Rick. Rick was really up top before, but now he.
Yeah, Rick was busy eating his chocolate.
Yeah. Let's go to people and roles. It's not too much interesting there. People and roles, I think that's pretty interesting. The team dynamics facilitator dominated meeting where Stephen drives 44% of conversation. Tom is the technical workhorse. Yes. Baba and Willow contribute adequately, but defer to Stephen. Rick's near silence during architectural discussion is a significant concern. That's pretty interesting. And if we scroll down, I don't know what happened to our roles. I got, I think, demoted or something. I used to be a senior software engineer, but now I'm a developer for some reason. But yeah, you have some good strengths and insight for everyone, which is pretty good. One thing I would love to see here on this screen is like a trend compared to previous sprints.
A trend of what?
Of the value score, for example, so we can see if people are consistently hitting the same scores or if there's dips or improvement.
Okay. So what you should do is after this sprint review, just go down to the bottom.
Yeah, I already recorded a few.
You've already recorded YakShaver and you put it into the backlog.
I didn't do a YakShaver, I quickly did it by hand.
What team are you on?
YakShaver.
YakShaver. You don't create anything by hand. You YakShaver it right in to Willow. And you put it into the Tiger project, and you check it.
I will do that for the missing image on mine.
Right, but basically what you're asking is the value score and then the previous value score.
Yeah, and maybe the previous, so we can see like a trending graph on that. And there might be some other values that we can do the same
right.
for that.
The previous one's in gray.
What do you mean? The previous scores?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Previous, so the current one should be colored, but the previous one should be in gray.
I'm pretty sure we can do that in the graph.
So I think what you should do is YakShaver with Yaki, with Willow. And
Yeah.
I used a Chinese name accidentally. So, and then delete your old one.
Yeah. I can do that. The inside, let's look at that.
Slide, yeah.
Yeah, the next team health X-ray B-. That would be, I think, also something that we can look over multiple sprints and see how this changes.
I think it's already improvement there. I remember it used to be C or something.
Okay. Yeah, team is productive, but showing coordination strain. Multiple external dependencies blocking progress, critical decisions deferred, technical debt accumulating, moral stable, but quiet frustration evident. And yeah, on this, the risk radar, I think that's also a pretty good thing. Auth migration has no clear requirements or decision owner, but I think that will change with our tomorrow's meeting. Yeah, the dynamic MCP server discovery is a very experimental undertaking. I think the rest is sort of okay, not very interesting. A little bit of repetition there.
And your voice has got very quiet. What would be better is if you've been through this and you go through this in about 20 seconds flat, the cool bits.
Yeah.
For next time.
And then I think on the trends, the accountability audit is also pretty cool. We have a whole bunch of commitments that we kept, a few commitments that were broken.
Yep.
And some ownership gaps which we need to resolve.
Right. Okay. Now, Willow, have you made any improvements on this report since last week?
I added the 2 sections on under the overview tab.
So go to the overview. There's 2 sections there. There's the meeting summary done this sprint and next steps. Okay. All right. I see. So that's the review essentially, and the next steps is planning. I think I would put those prefix on this. You know, the review dash done this sprint, and the planning dash next steps. Scroll down.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. And have you removed any duplication? Because there's a bit of duplication on these different tabs.
I have added the prompt to remove that, but I'm not sure why. I think I can do some more testing and
Okay.
do some prompt engineering. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No worries. Prompt engineering makes it sound very
Sophisticated.
yeah, very sophisticated.
Mhm.
We're all prompt engineers now.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, so we have talked a lot of items for this meeting. If there's no more questions, I will wrap it up here. The meeting will be uploaded into YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Bye.
See ya.